obviously music. It makes me cry to think that I wouldn't do music. I'm one of them people where I have to be around people, I have to be doing something and I love music. So if I'm not doing something I don't enjoy, then there's no room for me. I didn't want to tell people that I did music because when people ask me, it's not a real subject. And everyone else is really clever, and all my sisters, they were all really clever doing maths and psychology, and I was only doing music, so people go to me, oh, you do music, do you know how hard it is? Well, yeah, I know how hard it is, but I want to do it. I'm Charlie and I'm 20 years old and I'm an aspiring singer. I guess I want people to maybe make sure that the fear of failure doesn't take over for something that they really want to do in life. Like I really want to do music, but I'm my biggest critic, so I want people to realise that you can do anything you want. I always wanted to sing. I remember when I was younger, my mum and dad got me a little play piano. It was a baby one. I must have only been about 6 or 7. And it had a little microphone on it, and I used to be obsessed with steps, and I used to play the piano and sing to it. And I used to perform it for my family and ask them to come watch me, but they didn't. They didn't acknowledge it as much as they should have done. They just genuinely brushed it over. They were like, oh, that's really good. Yeah. When we went on holiday, and it was a massive holiday camp thing, and I had a massive karaoke, and my dad was like, just go up and sing, and I was like, no, I'm too nervous. So I made my sisters go behind me and dance. They all had microphones. They didn't really sing. And we sang Respect by Aretha Franklin. Don't ask me why I chose that song. It's a hard song to sing. We were walking back to our holiday home, and these 3 men came up to me and were like, you're the girl who sang, right? If I was your dad, I'd have rang Simon Cowell by now. You need to try and get in touch with people. Because my voice then was just, I could hit any note. Because I was so young, nothing affected me. I used to sing when I was younger all the time around the house. I used to want to live. I used to beg my mum and dad, can I live there? Can I perform? When I went to Upton, I started to get bullied by Amanda, by my old best friend, and so it knocked my confidence, so I just stopped singing. I'd do it at home, I'd listen to music, and I'd only ever want to do music, but I wouldn't tell anyone I could sing. And then I did music in school in Upton and started to do more singing at assemblies, but by then I could notice my confidence had affected my voice, like it still has now to a certain extent. Hayley was tone deaf. She'd sing and I'd be like, you are awful. She was so bad. But I never really used to sing much in front of her to begin with, because I was really nervous. Like I just shied away from it. I just tried to stay away from singing because I think I'm too scared. I criticise myself. I'm my biggest critic. And I'm also too scared of what other people think of me being because of the school I went to. And so in year 7 we were friends. We weren't like best friends. Because she'd be really nice to me and I'd get bullied then, so I was really shy. When I started to become really good friends, I think it was end of year 8, year 9. And we were in most classes together. And literally our personalities, we just hit it off. She knew. I think she sort of got a grasp that I was going through difficult times at home. I didn't tell her, but she just knew I was. I wouldn't invite people back to my house. From a young age, my mum had always been ill, very ill. But I'd only realised it when I was about, I think I must have been about 13 or 14 when I actually realised that there was an issue. Anyway, she couldn't work anymore because she was far too ill, and I mean really ill. And so I didn't really care about school then. I was just, school to me was an escape really. But because I was getting bullied in school as well, I was that quiet. Like I just got, it was the worst time of my life. I just didn't speak. Just didn't want to speak to anyone. But me and Becky and Megan, we'd all go with my dad, and one time it was very serious. She was in intensive care for a long time, and they said she was going to die, so they brought us in, and we had to go. The woman, I remember the nurse before the room said, like, it's not a pretty sight, I do warn you. And I was crying I remember crying my eyes out. I was really young, I was only about 14, I was really young, and I was like, why is this happening? Like, I don't want them to die. And then we walked into the room and I fell to the floor, I remember. Because I remember just seeing my mum in this bed with a breathing machine, a heart monitor to see if she was, brain dead, and we had to say goodbye, and that was so hard. Like, how do you say goodbye to someone? How do you do that in like what? You couldn't stay there long. How do you do that? How do you say goodbye? So we couldn't. Like, my dad was crying, I was crying, and Becky was crying her eyes out. We all didn't know what to do. So we thought she was going to die that day. I remember going back to hospital like 3 or 4 weeks later, and my mum had opened her eyes, and I remember she was trying to speak to me, she couldn't speak because she'd been out for that long, and she had tubes down her mouth so she couldn't breathe, but she was trying to say something to me, and I'd had my hair done, she was trying to say, like, you look nice, and I could see her trying to do that. She got on the mend after that for a while and started to get better. She got her own flat again. No matter how ill she was, she would never tell us she was ill. She'd be like, I'm fine. You could tell she was really ill, like she's dying, but she'd be like, I'm fine, baby. And I remember one time I got a cold, or I was being sick, and she came over to mine, even though she couldn't walk, and brought me food just to make me feel better. And I was just like, oh, you're such a good mum. And she'd have weeks where she'd be off and she'd get really ill, and no matter how many times I tried to tell my mum, like, why are you doing this to yourself? Why can't you just get better? By then I'd quit school because it had just all come over me too much. I quit school because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and so I'd go sit at my mum's with her, and she'd be really ill, and I only told Hayley. Hayley came round, we were going out, and Hayley was the only one who saw my mum drunk. The only one. And my mum got into an argument with me and Hayley because we were in her flat getting ready. Me and Hayley used to be really naughty and lie and say we were going out, we were going to lads' houses, we used to go to my mum's house. So my mum got into an argument with me and Hayley. And so Hayley saw that side, so that's why I was so close to Hayley, because she saw that side of my mum. No one else knew, couldn't tell anyone else. I genuinely looked up to her. Like, she was such a good friend to me. Even when I was really down, she could find something so happy about. Like, even if she's had a really bad argument with someone, she'd still be so happy. And I'd be like, how are you happy? And she'd be like, well, do you know what? If I'm going to be sad, so why be sad? Why be sad, Charlotte? When she found out I quit Birkenhead Sixth Form College, she went mad at me, like, you need to do music. So she was the one who forced me to sign up for Liverpool Media Academy. And then I did the audition and got into Liverpool Media Academy. And I didn't speak to Hayley for that 2 weeks because I was working a lot. And so she went to Matthew Street Festival, and the next day, me and my sister, I finished working, me and my sister, she came back from uni, so we went out for a meal, and we were walking back from the road to mine, and I got a phone call off my friend Lucy Charles, who was saying, Charles, has Hayley died? And I was like, I thought it was a joke. I was like, no, like, she's messing with you, Hayley's done something here. So I was like, no, don't, just ignore it. And then so I carried on walking, and then Becky was like, no, it'll be nothing. So they got another call then off someone else saying, Charles, has Hayley died? And I was like, why are you all ringing me? No, she hasn't died. And then but my sister went to me, call Mike, which is Hayley's dad. So I called Mike and I was like, hi Mike, and he seemed really fine on the phone. I was like, where's Hayley? And he went, I don't know. And I was like, what do you mean you don't know? Where's Hayley? And I could hear him walking upstairs, and he went, Charlotte, don't put the phone down. Hayley drowned last night.
Happy, bubbly and the perfect friend. That's how her loved ones have described Hayley Holmes. Now fears are growing for her boyfriend, 21-year-old Robbie Crofts.
And my heart stopped. I've never felt so bad. That I was literally like vomiting. I threw my phone. I remember my sister like crying because she was so shocked. And so my dad had to come pick us up, and that night was the worst night of my life. And I just remember looking at her mum, and just because her mum was just so upset. Like Hayley, she had Hayley at a young age, and Hayley to her was just everything, and Keely, her little sister, and so I had to try to be there for Keely because Hayley would have wanted me to be. So me and Jenny and Jess Williams, we were all Hayley's really close friends. We were on the funeral cars, and we drove through Upton, I remember. We drove through our old school, and the young made everyone stand in a row and everyone was crying, and that shocked me because I was like, wow, this has actually happened. And there was news cameras and everything when we got out at the funeral. I was like, what is this? This is mad. And there was hundreds of people there. There was a lot of people. And so I just thought, like, wow, maybe like the fresh new me, and how many people have turned up. The songs that were played at Hayley's funeral, I don't ever listen to now because it brings back horrible memories. I can't ever listen to them. And if it gets played, I tell people to turn off. And then I sang, and I couldn't sing. Like I just kept looking at her coffin and being like, it's not you in there. As sad as it is, things like this do happen in life. I didn't speak to my mum that week when Hayley died. I just ignored her calls. I didn't really speak to anyone. I didn't even speak to my dad. I just didn't look at my sisters. I was in my own world. I didn't cry. I didn't even cry at Hayley's funeral. It was 2 days after Hayley's funeral. I was getting ready to go back to work. I was getting ready about 6 in the morning, and my dad came downstairs and he was crying. I was like, why are you crying? So I didn't go with my dad. So I was like, why are you crying? And he was like, your mum passed away this morning. It was a shock again to me, but it didn't hit me. I was like, how? I spoke to her like 2 weeks ago, like she was fine. I didn't start college till 2 or 3 weeks later, and then I remember the college ringing me and just saying to me like, come on, you can come into college now. And they were lovely, and I was shocked that they were doing that. Usually a college would like start next year, but they weren't. They tried to persuade me to come. So I remember going, and they sat me down and in the green room cafe, because I used to just cry. I used to just get really upset in lessons and just cry. And then she took me through counselling on the odd lunch times, and it would just affect me because my confidence would be so low. I wouldn't sing. I went to music college, my whole thing was about singing, and I couldn't bring my whole personality out because I just didn't know, I didn't want to, like nothing was pushing me there. I'd still cry, I'd be so upset about it, it would affect every decision I made. And I had really bad depression, went to the doctors. And even my family would be like, come on, you've got to get over it now. It's happened a year and a half ago, 2 years ago now, you have to get over it. And I just couldn't get over it. Every lunchtime, I'd go sit with a man and he'd talk me through everything. And my teachers would be like, you know, like, you've done so well coming in. And my classmates would be like, no, I'm so proud of you for coming in. Like, if that happened to me, I wouldn't be able to do it. But I also think it's made me more motivated to do music because I've had so much happen to me from such a young age. And I'm not comparing it to everyone because everyone has problems, but I have had a lot. It's where I can write. In college, I can write really deep music and lyrics, and that's where good lyric writing comes from, because everyone can sort of relate to the music. If you can write something that people can relate to, then it's a good song. So I'd say that's where I've got my ability to write lyrics from. And then when it got towards the end of our college, my confidence was it just literally was sky high. And ushers and Ricky Tomlinson came up to me and was like, oh, you've got a lovely voice, like, wanted me to sing in the green room. They kept asking me to sing in the green room. And it opened my eyes again for music. It really got, I really wanted to do music from there, but I didn't know how to get into it, because music, you don't need a degree, you don't have to have any qualifications in music, you just have to know people. It was actually Megan, my sister, who told me to apply for the London Institute. Now it's where Fiona Faith and Robbie Kempsey and all of them went. There's only like 6 people in my class, and I thought, oh my god, I'm not going to get this. So I went down to London, and it was actually really hard, the audition. I was really nervous. So I sang for him and he was like, you're so nervous, stop letting it take over you. And then he was like, straight away, he was like, we want you, you've given you a place here. If I do make it, which I hope I do, I will be like, people criticise me for everything, I'm going to be so hard-faced, like, I will be criticised on my looks, on my voice, my ability, but I just got to show that and just believe. I always wanted to sing, I really have a voice. School to me was an escape. I know how hard it is, but I want to do it. So why be sad? Why be sad, Charlotte? I just literally listen to music and then shut everything out. If you can write something that people can relate to, then it's a good song. It's life. You just take everything with a pinch of salt.